African Union's headquarters was established in 2012. This building was the Chinese government's $200 million donation. Chinese enterprises planned and built it with Chinese money. Ultimately, the African Union IT team removed these Chinese servers and installed new ones as it was found that the building was bugged. Similarly, the Chinese Import-Export Bank handed Sri Lanka $307 million for a port that everyone told the president wouldn't be successful. Sri Lanka had a staggering $4.7 billion in debt to be paid to China by the end of 2015. It drowned in debt payments and left a costly port. Eventually, China controls 85% of that port, squeezing 15,000 acres of land surrounding that port. In the world, Africa is one of the most underdeveloped regions, and this lack of development facilitates rapid economical development. Natural resource exploitation is often the initial stage in the process of economic growth in many nations. Almost every country has a certain amount of natural resources that may be utilized by jumpstart economic development. But first and foremost, they must have the funds to construct the infrastructure and undertake the activities required to collect these natural resources. Today, China finds itself in a similar situation. They urgently need energy, money, and resources to continue their meteoric ascent to the mountain summit. China has overtaken the United States in terms of oil imports, and the country imports a third of its oil from Africa and 20% of its cotton. Africa is home to half of the world's manganese, used in steel manufacturing, and a slew of other metals used in electronics manufacturing. By investing in African mining and farming, China can benefit from Africa's development, while also supplying minerals and food to the Chinese economy, which needs minerals and nutrition. While it may seem odd that China, the nation that the world relies on for low-cost manufacturing, is searching for a labor supply abroad, the situation is not unusual. However, that is precisely what it is doing at the moment. The economic growth brought about by the manufacturing sector propelled a significant section of its people into the middle class, which resulted in an increase in labor expenses throughout the nation. However, at the lowest possible price. As a result, Chinese manufacturing companies are establishing their own businesses in African countries. In addition, as the continent's 1.2 billion inhabitants urbanize at a rapid pace, nations that are prepared to risk billions of dollars to develop infrastructure there may be in for a once-in-a-lifetime chance to earn billions, if not trillions of dollars over the long term. And it seems that China is the only country prepared to take such a risk. Africa is no longer subservient to the United States, as most of the continent has allied itself with China, the world's fastest-growing superpower in economic and political influence. The apparent explanation for this is that China has poured massive sums of money into the country, a journey to the African continent in search of allies. Examples include China's construction of a $3.2 billion railroad in Kenya, which can transport passengers in 4 hours across the 300 miles between the capital Nairobi and Mombasa, the country's second biggest city and major port. Compared to other modes of transportation, it is much quicker to travel the same distances between Philadelphia and Boston aboard the Acela Express, the fastest train in the United States. Chinese engineers also constructed a dam in Guinea, costing $526 million, which has assisted the nation in transitioning from a state of continuous power shortages to producing more electricity than it requires and exporting the excess to neighboring countries. As part of its infrastructure development in Ethiopia, China constructed a $475 million light rail system in the capital. It is the first of its type in the sub-Saharan Africa. These are just a few examples of projects being developed to alleviate traffic congestion in major cities. Yearly, hundreds of additional Chinese infrastructure projects are completed all across Africa. Africa's economy is being transformed due to China's participation in initiatives, both large and small. In international relations, there is no such thing as a gift. Everything comes with conditions. China has traditionally not had many friends to invest in its future as a global powerhouse. Chinese investments in Africa has accelerated as a result, and the nation has used its financial might to establish diplomatic relations with almost every country in the region. That one nation in the south, Swaziland, has of course been the only one to refuse to participate in all of this. Even though it's a small nation, China has been prosperous in acquiring all of these nations in these regions. Furthermore, Swaziland has decided to stop recognizing Taiwan and to instead back China. These investments are also a component of China's Belt and Road Initiative, also known as the New Silk Road, one of the most massive infrastructure projects ever envisioned, and part of the Belt and Road Initiative, launched in 2013 by President Xi Jinping. This will extend from East Asia to Europe, substantially increasing China's economic growth and political power. Some experts view the initiative as a worrisome extension of China's growing power, while others view it as a positive development. Some nations' resistance to many of the projects has risen, since the prices of many of the projects have soared in recent years. These investments seem to be great for the people because of the same promises of prosperity, but the lenders will only lend them money if Chinese firms complete the construction of these projects. Chinese businesses must manage 70% of the projects, with the remaining 30% handled by local businesses. Consequently, at inflated rates, money is transferred from state-owned banks to LDCs, and then directly back into the wallets of state-owned businesses. From 2006 to 2017, China's governmental and commercial sectors have already lent about $132 billion to African nations via various channels. Many analysts are concerned that African nations would be unable to repay their loans, putting them in what has been referred to as a, quote, debt trap. As a result, it is one method of enslaving a country and further capitalizing on China's position as a superpower. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then,